Alright, so if you are a distance learner, this video may not apply to you. You should probably ask your parents for permission. We're going to do our hot air balloon experiment, and first thing you're going to do is you're going to actually start cutting out some aluminum foil. That aluminum foil needs to be 4x4, so I'm going to use a ruler, and you're going to measure out 4 inches, which is the long side of the ruler where the measurements are further apart. That's 4 inches one way, and you're just going to go all the way around. So that's 4 inches that way as well. And you'll have your base. So that's what you're gonna cut out with scissors. We're gonna go and cut that out and show like a small amount of cutting, and then be amazing. I think I might try.
And 5 for sure.
Yeah. So that's what your base should look like once you're done cutting it. It's just gonna be a really small piece of aluminum foil. We're gonna take bendy straws, which means you can pull it out like that or push it back in. If those are the straws you have, you need to cut it right after that bendy portion. So that's cut off now. Now you also need to cut off a small little slit. I only cut about that much, just so that way you can put another straw inside of it. So I'm gonna take my next straw. I'm gonna go ahead and just shove that in there. And once it's in, you're gonna wanna tape it. And for this hot air balloon, you wanna use the least amount of tape as possible because the more weight you put on it, the less likely it is to fly. So I'm just gonna place it and roll it around so that's nice and snug. And so the last part you need to know is the measurement for the straw length needs to be about 17 to 18 inches long. So we have a yardstick in the classroom. If you're at home, you're gonna have to use multiple ruler lengths. But right now we're all the way up to about 14 and a half. So I'm gonna grab my next straw, and I know I have to tuck it inside, so I'm gonna put it kind of a little bit by the red like that and measure all the way up to like 17 and a half and hold my finger there so I can cut it with scissors. I can tuck that in, tape that as well, just a small piece of tape like last time. And that's 17 and a half almost exactly, so we're good to go. That's only one, you need to make 2 of these. So this looks like about 2.5 straws, you should make 1 more. Voila. So this is the plastic bag we're using. You need to use a thin plastic bag. We're using school garbage bags here. So when you take this straw, you're gonna place it in the bag. It does not matter where you put it, but just make sure that it's barely in there like that. And you're gonna grab some tape. I'm just gonna hold that bag right there and tape it in. So barely tape it. And now it's on the straw. You're gonna do the same thing to the other sides. And then last one, you wanna make sure the bag stretch out. So it should look kind of like a square when you hold it up. And if it looks like that, you're good. So I'm gonna try to place it in those corners that I'm holding it in currently. Now, when you see this, you are okay. So if you see one straw bending, don't worry about that. And once the last straw is placed, you're gonna flip it upside down so that the straws are now on the table that you're working at, and the bag should just be floating up here. Okay, so for this portion of the aluminum foil, you're gonna wanna actually curl up the sides. So you just wanna bend it just a little bit. And the reason we're doing this is because we're gonna be burning candles on this aluminum foil. So if you don't fold it, the hot wax will come off. And if you take a look over at this one real quick, you can see that it will burn the straw and completely light the thing on fire, which is what happened here. So do not do this mistake. You gotta fold this up. You are just gonna take the bottom of the candle, not where you're lighting it, but take the bottom of the candle and you're just gonna make sure you burn the wax off. And it's gonna fall down on the aluminum foil. And then you're just gonna hold it like this. And if you wanna move the camera so it's like up above. And we're just gonna wait for that to dry. And we're gonna hold this candle in place. And eventually you can let go and you can see it's just gonna stay up there by itself. I'm just gonna go. So you're just gonna wait for the wax to drip enough so that way you can stick it down like that. So this should be what your finished aluminum foil looks like. So you're gonna need someone to hold the bag from the top like this. And the reason you need someone to hold it like this is because they're gonna take the aluminum foil and they're gonna have to go underneath and place it on the straws that are underneath the bag, okay? When you do this, the candles cannot be above the straw. Once again, you wanna tape it so the candles are not above the straws. If you do that, the heat could possibly light the straw on fire, so that way they're not just floating around doing their own thing. And then just double check that you have all the corners of the foil up so that way wax doesn't fall off when you light this thing on fire. Okay, this last part is super important. So you're gonna want someone to hold the bag up for you like this. And then the next person is gonna light a fire with their match or with their lighter, and they're gonna go underneath the bag and light each candle. Now, you have to have someone holding the bag, because if you don't, the bag could catch fire, so you've gotta be holding it up when you go to light underneath. Okay, now that you have all 4 candles lit, you're gonna go ahead and place the bag on the table, and you're just gonna hold it while it inflates with hot air. And you will notice that it will start moving. You just need to be careful and just hold it, and eventually you get to the point where you just let it sit. and it should take some time to inflate all the way, and eventually it should go up. If this does not start rising in 2 minutes, you did not do it correctly and you need to do it again. As you can see here, it's just gonna fly all the way up into the ceiling and it's gonna stop right there and it's just gonna stay there. If you are gonna fly it in an open space, make sure you tie a tether. So you should have a string like this, and all you need to do is just tie it to the straw right there.